Hello. Welcome back to the place they never expected you'd survive. If you're here, you're not ordinary. You're not lucky. You're something else entirely. Because people like us, we don't escape the fall. We become it. You remember what they said about you, don't you? The whispers when you left the room, the fake support in your face and the quiet laughter when you failed. The doubt, so much doubt, it choked out the air before you could even speak. They didn't just question your potential. They buried it, shoveled cold, calculated uncertainty over your name, packed it down with every backhanded compliment, every ghosted message, every time they looked at you and saw less. They didn't want you to fail, no. They needed you to, because your light, however small, threatened their comfort. Your will to fight, your refusal to play small, your inconvenient refusal to disappear, it made them uncomfortable. So they fed you doubt, like a slow poison. They made you second-guess yourself, until your reflection felt like a stranger. They taught you how to build your own prison, one thought at a time. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I'm too much. Maybe I deserve this silence. But here's what they never prepared for. You stopped waiting for them to rescue you. You started digging with your own bare hands, through the mud of their lies, through the weight of every betrayal, until your fingers bled truth. And one night, in silence, you climbed out. Not healed, not whole, but changed. And what rose from that grave wasn't the same person they left behind. No, you came back quieter, colder, clearer. And something about your presence now unsettles them. You don't raise your voice, but they flinch when you speak. You don't chase anyone anymore, but they feel your absence like a ghost in every room. You became the thing they swore you'd never be. Free. Free of their approval. Free of the identity they designed for you. Free from the cage of doubt they tried to lock from the outside. And now, they regret it. Not because they see your worth. Not because they feel guilt. But because you walked away and never looked back. You're their unfinished business, their echo. The one who proved them wrong by simply breathing and refusing to break. You are the quiet storm that reminds them of what they tried to kill and failed. They buried you in doubt. But now, you walk through the world like a mirror they can't face. Because your existence exposes them, your smile cuts deeper than revenge. Your peace is louder than screaming. You didn't come back to convince anyone. You didn't rise to perform for forgiveness. You came back to own your name, to live unshackled, to look in the mirror and say, I was buried, but now I am the ground beneath your fear. So keep walking. Let them talk. Let them explain you to each other with fake theories and shaky voices. Let them say, they changed. They're different now. Because they're right. You did change. But not for them, not for revenge, not for applause. You changed for you. And that's what haunts them most. Not your pain, not your survival, but the fact that you made it out without needing them anymore. So wear your silence like armor. Let your stillness scream. Because sometimes the loudest revenge is a life they can't touch. They buried you in doubt. But now, you're walking proof that some ghosts don't haunt. They rise. And you are their living regret. Their memory with eyes. Their failure with a heartbeat. So now you're here. Standing in the daylight they swore would never touch you again. And it's quiet, isn't it? Not the kind of quiet that comes from peace, but the kind that comes when everyone who doubted you goes silent, because there's nothing left to say. They called you weak when you showed emotion. They called you selfish when you finally said no. They called you crazy when you stopped explaining your pain and started wearing it like armor. But the truth? They were never afraid of your flaws. They were terrified of what would happen if you ever figured out you were never broken to begin with. They were scared of this version of you. The version that doesn't flinch. The version that doesn't beg. The version that rises from the grave carrying every scar like a loaded weapon. You didn't ask to be the villain in their stories, but if surviving makes you the enemy, then let them tell it that way. Let them write their sad little fables. Let them whisper your name like it's a curse while you walk through your life like a wildfire. Because now, you're the one thing they can't control. Not with guilt, not with shame, not with fear. You're done playing small so they can feel tall. You're done dimming your light so they don't look away. You were the outcast. You were the afterthought. You were the easy one to leave behind until you became the hardest to forget. You're not just walking free. You're walking true. And nothing scares a liar more than someone who knows the truth about themselves. So walk. Not to prove anything, not to show off, just to remind the world. You made it. You buried the old you yourself. And now, what came back doesn't kneel. It doesn't explain. It doesn't apologize. It doesn't ask. It just moves. With fire in its chest, stillness in its step, and the weight of 1,000 ghosts cracking under its smile. They buried you in doubt. But you walked out a living echo of everything they tried to erase. And now, you're not just their regret. You're their warning. You see, they thought the burial was the end, but you used it as your beginning. While they celebrated your silence, you were building your thunder. While they mistook your absence for defeat, you were learning how to become the storm. And now, the very name they used to mock, it walks beside you like a sword. The shame they tried to gift you, you wear it like a crown, the dirt they threw on your name. It only made your roots grow deeper, your resolve unshakable. You didn't just survive, you transformed, and not into something they can understand. You became something they fear, not because you're cruel, but because you no longer bend. You're not hunting revenge. You're not chasing recognition. You're walking in purpose. You are the embodiment of unfinished karma, and they see it now, in the way you don't flinch, in the way your silence cuts deeper than screaming ever did, in the way your peace feels like punishment to those who tried to break you. Let them look. Let them remember. Let them regret. You're not here to fix what they shattered. You're here to build something out of the ashes that never includes them again. So keep walking, head high, eyes forward, soul on fire, because they buried you in doubt. But now, you're their reminder that not everything stays dead. Some things rise, some things evolve, some things come back as their worst mistake, still breathing. And the best part? You don't need revenge. You already won. You just became everything they were afraid you'd turn into, and you did it without losing your soul. Now smile. Walk away. Let them sit with it, because you are the truth they can't rewrite, and the silence they can't ignore, forever walking free, their greatest regret. So here you are now, not the villain, not the victim, but the proof. Proof that they were wrong. Proof that silence isn't surrender. Proof that you can bury a person's name but not their fire. And while they go on pretending they don't remember what they did, you walk freely, dragging their guilt behind you like a chain they forged themselves. You don't chase closure. You became the closure, not for them, but for you. Because the old you died in that grave they dug with their doubt. And what crawled out? what came back from the dark. That version of you doesn't ask for permission anymore. It doesn't apologize for surviving. It doesn't need validation. It already won. So walk on, with your shadow at your side like a loyal ghost, your scars spelling out every lesson they tried to erase. Let them look at you now and wonder, how the hell did they come back from that? Let them tremble when they see you smile, not because you're healed, but because you're aware, because you're dangerous, because you remember everything, and yet you're still standing, not in spite of the grave, but because of it. They buried you in doubt, but now you are their mirror, their shadow, their regret, still breathing, still walking, and never stopping.